Once there lived a poor widow who had but one son, Jack. A hard summer came, and they had little to eat until the new potatoes were fit to dig. One evening Jack said, "Mother, bake me a cake and kill the hen. I'll go seek my fortune, and if I meet it, I'll soon be back to share it with you." She did as he asked. At dawn, Jack set out, his mother walking him to the gate. "My son," she said, "would you rather have half the cake and half the hen with my blessing, or the whole lot with my curse?" "Ah, mother," Jack answered, "sure, you know I'd never take your curse, not if it came with Damer's estate besides. Then here's the whole cake, the hen, and my 1,000 blessings along with them." She stood on the fence, waving and blessing him until he was out of sight. Jack walked on until he came beside a bog. There he saw a poor ass stuck up to his shoulders, stretching for a tuft of grass just beyond reach. "Jack, Alana," brayed the beast, "help me out or I'll be drowned." "Say no more," replied Jack. He threw stones and sods into the mire until the ass found firm ground and clambered onto the road. "God bless you," said the grateful creature. "I'll repay the kindness if I can. Where are you bound?" "I'm off to seek my fortune till harvest comes in." "Then I'll go with you," said the ass. "Two may find luck where one alone might fail." "With all my heart," said Jack, and so they set off together. Before long they reached a village where a pack of boys were chasing a dog with a kettle tied to his tail. The frightened creature ran straight to Jack, and the ass gave such a roar that the boys scattered like chaff before the wind. "Bless you, Jack," panted the dog, "and thanks to you too, good ass." "Where are you going?" "To seek our fortune," said Jack. "Care to join us?" "With pleasure," barked the dog. "Anything to be rid of those wicked lads." "Then fall in beside us," said Jack. They went a little farther and sat down under an old wall. Jack shared his cake and hen with the dog, while the ass dined on thistles. As they ate, a thin mewling cat crept toward them, his cry enough to break a heart. "You look as if you haven't eaten since sunrise," said Jack, tossing him a bone with some meat still on it. "Blessings on you," purred the cat. "I was starving." "Where are you headed?" "To seek our fortune till harvest comes in," said Jack. "Then let me join you," said the cat. "With a heart and a half," said Jack, and so their company grew. That evening, as the shadows stretched long, they heard a commotion in a field. Out leaped a fox with a fine black cock in his mouth. "You villain," brayed the ass. "At him, dog," shouted Jack. The dog sprang, and the fox dropped his prize and fled. Trembling, the cock fluttered back to Jack. "Neighbors," said he, "I'll not forget your kindness. Where are you bound?" "To seek our fortune till harvest comes in." "You may ride on the ass's back if your wings grow tired." "With gratitude," said the cock. And so the band of comrades was complete. The sun sank, and no house was in sight. "Well," said Jack, "it's only a summer night. We'll sleep in the wood." Jack stretched on the grass. The ass lay beside him. The dog and cat curled close for warmth, and the cock roosted in a tree. But in the dark the cock crowed. "Bother you, black cock," grumbled the ass. "You've roused me from the sweetest dream of hay." "It's daybreak," cried the cock. "It's a light, sure enough," said Jack, "but from a candle, not the sun. Since we're awake, let's see who burns it." Through grass and briars they crept until they spied a cabin, lit within and loud with singing and laughter. Jack motioned for silence. Peering through the window, they saw 6 robbers feasting on roast meat and strong drink. "Close ranks, my men," whispered Jack. "Follow my command." The ass placed his forehoofs on the window ledge. The dog stood on his head, the cat on the dogs, and the cock atop them all. At Jack's signal, they let loose a fearful chorus. Brayed the ass. "Bow wow," barked the dog. "Meow," screeched a cat. "Cock-a-doodle-doo," crowed the cock. "Fire," cried Jack, and they howled again, shattering the window. The robbers, terrified, blew out the candles and fled into the woods, leaving the table overturned behind them. Jack and his comrades slipped inside, lit the candles, and feasted till hunger and thirst were gone. Then each took his rest. Jack in the bed, the ass in the stable, the dog on the mat, the cat by the fire, and the cock upon his perch. Out in the cold wood, the robbers grew bitter. "This damp grass is poor comfort," said one. "I dropped a pig's foot," sighed another. "And all the gold and silver we left behind," groaned the last. "I'll venture back," said their captain, "and see what may be saved." He crept to the cabin. The fire was low. As he reached for a coal, the cat sprang at his face, clawing him fiercely. He staggered for the door and stepped on the dog's tail. The dog sank his teeth into the man's legs and arms. "Mercy," he roared, lurching toward the entrance. Then down swooped the cock, wings beating, claws and beak flying, worse than all the rest. Blinded and staggering, the robber reeled into the stable, where the ass sent him flying with a well-aimed kick that landed him on the dung heap. Bruised and torn, he crawled back to his men. "Did you find our treasure?" they asked. "Treasure?" he groaned. "I found an old witch at the hearth who clawed me, a cobbler at the door who pierced me with his awls, a demon that flew at me with wings like iron, and at last a giant with a sledgehammer who hurled me into the yard. Go yourselves if you doubt me," but none dared return. Next morning, Jack and his comrades gathered the gold and silver the robbers had stolen and set out for the castle of the Lord of Dunlavin. Jack slung the sack across the ass's back, and together they journeyed until they reached the great hall. At the gate stood the porter, red-faced and surly. "What do you want here?" he snapped. "There's no room for beggars." "We want civility," said Jack, "something you've none to give." "Be off, or I'll loose the dogs," growled the porter. But the cock, perched proudly on the ass's back, cried out, "Would you tell us, good porter, who it was that opened the door for the robbers the other night?" The porter's face turned pale, for the lord and his daughter had overheard from the window. "I'd like your answer to that, Barney," said the lord sternly. "Ah, my lord, I never opened the door," stammered the porter. "And how did you know there were 6 of them?" asked the lord. Jack stepped forward. "Here is your gold and silver, my lord, and we ask only a supper and a bed for our pains." "Bed and supper," cried the lord. "You shall never know want again while I live." He welcomed them warmly. The ass, dog, cock, and cat were given the choicest places in the yard and kitchen. Jack himself was dressed in fine broadcloth, with linen white as snow and a watch in his pocket. At dinner, the lady declared he had the air of a gentleman, and the lord made him his steward. Jack brought his mother to live near the castle, and there they all remained, happy and well cared for to the end of their days. And that's the story of Jack and his comrades. Courage, kindness, and a bit of cleverness to outwit the dark. If you enjoyed this tale, hit like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who loves folklore. Would you have taken all those companions along, or gone it alone? Tell me in the comments. More legends and ghostly echoes are coming soon, so keep your lantern lit, and beware what waits in the shadows.